Right, well, I've not done one of these for some time, but I am back from Play Expo Blackpool in, well, Blackpool, of course. Went there this weekend, all weekend wristband once again. Having done Manchester for the full weekend, well, I wanted to go and do another weekend of it. Being Blackpool's quite convenient, not too far away from us. Well, my friend Andy, who I ran into in Manchester, who was there for one day, this time was there with me for the whole 9 yards. And like me, he's into the old 80s cabs, 90s cabs, old classic computers, consoles, and all the other geekery involved as well. So lots of fun to spend the weekend doing that. Now, our little adventure started on Friday, and I say adventure because we are being simple Luddites from the northwest, wanted to get a train from Manchester to Blackpool. Only the weather gods decided to intervene and deluge a ton of water between Preston and Blackpool. All trains off. So we did the usual, got to Preston and decided that we would take up Northern on their wonderful replacement buses. We get to the front of Preston's train station and there's a sea of angry people lining the pavement. And this one guy, God bless him, he must have had the most difficult job of the day, walking around, there are buses coming, they're coming, we just don't know when, please, please bear with us. So, well, what happened as well that was essentially that Andy decided we would try something different. He said, get us to the bus station. Yes, we decided to get a commoner's bus from Preston to Blackpool. My ever-optimistic friend believed it would be only about £4 or £5, don't worry about it. Gets on the bus, that'll be £8.20 please. £8.20, just to ride on a regular bus. It might be quite a long journey, but National Express from Manchester was about £9. And that's quite a bit longer in a much better class of bus. I'm just saying. Anyway, our adventures with this particular bus was quite interesting because when we got on, there was this old man, and he seemed to have this fixation on Blackpool people damaging a football ground in Preston or something. And he kept saying, I know what you did last week, I know where you were. So in a bit of a taxi driver moment, I just went, you're talking to me? And of course, these are like, you talking to me. And it became a bit, as I said, Robert, are you talking to me? But I'm the only one here. And all, it wasn't quite that bad, but it was getting to that level. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And he just, apparently we called him stupid. And I'm like, really confused. I'm like, I don't follow football and I don't know who you are. What? Why? Anyway, fortunately, a few stops later we got off. So after that, all plain sailing surprisingly into Blackpool. It was slow, but it wasn't too bad. Especially when I was carrying all my gear. Now, I'm going to need to briefly go away because I've got the things I need to show off. So pardon me for a moment, I've not prepared this very well. Professional to the end, yes I am. Obviously this weekend was not just about the gaming, it was also about the cosplay. And I finally, at Play Expo, got to debut this. Yes, courtesy of the, well, he was known as Savvy Props, he's now known as Psycho Props. A great crafter from around in Rochdale area, not too far away from me. I picked this up from him and he made this for me custom. I literally said to him, it's the W870 from Resident Evil 2 Remake. Can you give me a quote on it? Gave me a price. And again, this, I didn't even ask for that, but he put it in for me. So it has that nice little extra edge to it. Really nice piece of kit. Really good fun to hold. And also, incredibly lightweight. I can actually hold it with one finger. So it's definitely con-safe. So it's about Dutch debuting that, having some fun, and generally doing a bit of the cosplay as well. When we got into Blackpool, I was carrying that on the train, wrapped up, along with my other gun as well, which is in my bedroom, so I'm not going to get that. When we got into Blackpool, we had plain sailing to our hotel, because we decided to stay in Fleetwood, rather than actually in Blackpool. Now, you might think, well, why? Because Play Expo is actually taking place at the Norbert Castle Hotel. piece of advice, don't stay there. It's a place that's very rooted in the 1980s. And I don't mean that by having like a sense of retro fashion and chic. No, this is like, you know, you've still got the very cheap fire doors and the really nasty smells and carpets that duct tape down in places where it's just not been well maintained. So as a place to stay, I don't really recommend it. Now, we chose to go to Fleetwood because we thought to ourselves, we wanted somewhere a little quieter, somewhere away from the bustle, so we had like a clean break between the days. And we stayed at this great place called the Savoy, who went all in with Halloween. They had like a skeleton hanging from the outside, they had a mock-up graveyard in the garden, they had this creepy butler who was like saying, another guest, when you walked in, they had cobwebs everywhere. It was amazing. It was a great Halloween theme. And yes, Halloween's due. It's a couple of weeks away, but it's still nice to see someone doing that rather than advertising Christmas. Wait until after Halloween. In my Britain, it will be a criminal offence to advertise that holiday until Halloween is over. Off topic, getting back on. One cool thing as well about this hotel was they actually had an ancient typewriter, which meant me, in my Leon Kennedy Resident Evil garb, got to get a photo of me actually using a typewriter to save my progress. I'm such a nerd. So after the first night, we found out our rooms had beautiful sea views, absolutely amazing, really high quality, very good prices. So if you are going to Blackpool and you want to stay somewhere a little quieter away from the town, so you got a bit of a break in different atmosphere, the Savoy comes recommended. Really good place. They also went out of the way for a vegan breakfast for me as well. They really pulled the boat out for, so that's a major, major plus. So the day of the con arrives, and I'm in my Resident Evil Noir DLC get-up. Gets to the event, and we end up in the priority queue, but we're not near the front. Even so, we're still in there relatively early, around about 10 past 10. And for the most part, it was the arcades that I was there for, because I still love stand-up arcade cabinets. There's something about hearing the noise and the blips and having the audience around you waiting for a go that always seems to make me go, yeah, I'm in a gaming mode here. I joined a random in completing Time Crisis 2 for the first time in years, which was absolutely amazing. I had another go on the hydraulic outrun, which I've still not actually managed to beat. The hydraulic cab that moves, for some reason, I always seem to screw up on stages 3 or 4. I don't want a stand-up cab, but the one that moves, for some reason, I don't quite perform as well. Don't know why. Also played point blank against a guy who decided, in his foolish wisdom, to take on very hard mode. Anyone who's played point blank knows that when these stages come up, their mouths drop and they go, no way. As all the challenges are cranked up to the nth degree. Very hard mode is every challenge at that level. Yeah, good luck. We managed to get through 2 rounds, surprisingly, before we ended up running out of lives. And oddly enough, I ran out of lives because I kept hitting bombs, not because I was missing my targets and failing to hit the quota. So that was actually really annoying, because I could have potentially beat the game on very hard. I'll remember that for the next time at Arcade Club, because I got it there. I also played House of the Dead in full Resident Evil costume. That was quite nice to be killing zombies dressed as a zombie killing cop. I own my gimmick, what can I say? And I also played some amazing Japanese cabs which were there for the first time. They had Japanorama brought in a series. Now, quite a few of them have played before, the likes of Jubeat, for instance, and I can never remember the name of the game, but it's where you got the Tanjo drums and you're hitting the kind of like the Dompa style drums. But they also had this really interesting one. Don't know what it was called, but it was almost like a Guitar Hero kind of game where it had the lines and you had to hit the bar, you had to hit certain things at times. There was like 8 different coloured buttons, so you're kind of like going like this all around. And it might sound a bit pointless. You try playing it. You will be hooked. It's one of those games that's incredibly simple, yet you can't get enough of it. Moving off from the arcade side, we also checked out quite a few of the consoles. We played Micro Machines 2 on the Sega Mega Drive. Not played that game in a very, very long time. They had it hooked up with 2 controllers into the cartridge controller ports. the vastly underrated J-Carts, as they were known, where you could have 8-player multi-games without a multi-tap on the Sega Mega Drive. Codemasters did that first, and it was brilliant. Pardon me while I imbibe some coffee. Yes, Andy, that word was for you. Shall I say, the playing the micro machines was a lot of fun. I wish we'd had more people to join us, because it was just me and Andy, and we were having a lot of fun with it. But seeing it with 4 players on, I was thinking, could have some serious fun with this. Have a real laugh. And again, so we both started playing dirty, and then he tried many times to push me off the track, so I stopped and he drove himself off. And then, really annoyingly, I punted him off to take the final victory. Despicable me, what can I say? Over the weekend, we also played a very early Pong machine. It wasn't called Bellator, because that's the mixed martial arts production company, but it was B something. I don't know what it was. On one of those old crusty CRT monitors with tons of really bad wave lines where it's not been quite tuned in properly. I lost. I wasn't very good, but it was still a good laugh to see just how much gaming has come on from using the tiny little wheel to having, like, you know, VR controllers and all of the arcade sticks and God knows what else. Going back to the arcades, the one thing I did do is I played Radmobile for the first time in about, I'd say 20 years. Maybe even longer, like 25 years. I played it, and I will say that is one of the most forgiving arcade races ever. It has 20 stages. Outrun has 5. Outrun 2SP has 15. Radmobile has 20. And it's a game where, if you've not played it, I think you're in what's meant to be a replica of the Porsche 959. And it's in very much the same vein as Outrun. You've got Sonic hanging from a keychain, spinning round, and it's in cockpit view, so you're in car. But you also have stages that take place at night and in the rain. And when that happens, you have to actually turn on your headlights and your windscreen wipers in order to get your visibility, which is really cool. It also features the police. And I love this. They literally just appear, it comes with a message saying, watch out behind you. And you think, oh, I'm being chased by the pack. No, suddenly a cop car appears. And if you crash, it'll just come up saying, you are under arrest. And a stereotypical fat police cop comes around and literally goes, and breaks your car. It is hilarious. It is such a funny thing to do. I only got busted once, so I got away with it. One of the games where you could crash quite a few times. I think I must have crashed about, I'd say at least 3, if not 4 times, and I still beat the game with a good 15 seconds left on the timer. So if you do get a chance to play Radmobile in the wild, it's a good game to play. It seems a lot more forgiving than the likes of Outrun, the likes of Chase HQ. So you can definitely have a lot of fun with it. It was still a good laugh to play. It was still very technically proficient. And it's a shame it's never really been ported. There was a Saturn kind of spin-off called Gale Racer, but it wasn't anywhere near as good. I'd love to see a proper port of Radmobile come back in the future, along with some other lost classics like Sega GT and Scud Race. It'd be nice to see them brought back. So, going back to the main event for me, for why I was at Play Expo, was the cosplay. Now, this time I did something that I haven't done before, which was I actually did a vocal performance. The times I've cosplayed and done, whether it's been like in proper masquerades for competitions or just like display masquerades, I've usually come on in character. I've kind of like gone with those kind of poses, or maybe, you know, poses kind of like that, and that's about as far as it's got. Now, I was thinking to myself, it'd be nice to do something a bit vocal. Well, there would be other things. Well, it's up to you if you want to give it a try. And I thought to myself, well, I'm in Noir mode, so the only thing I could really do is, like, I can't just quote the game's lines. I go around saying, what the? And you got to be kidding me. It would have no real context for the audience. I wanted to do something that had a bit of a show to it. And then it hit me, because it's a Noir, maybe I could do a kind of unofficial Leon diary of what he's doing in the event. Now, I've not got any video footage of myself. If anyone video recorded either day 1 or day 2's masquerade, please let me know. I would love to see footage of it when I actually performed, just to see how much cringe it was. But essentially, I thought I'd tap into the old kind of Humphrey Bogart kind of world. You know, it's kind of like, of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world. You know, that kind of Noir vibe. Now, I thought to myself when I was thinking, well, I've not got a routine rehearsed, so it's going to have to be ad-libbed. So the first things I thought in my head while I was in the queue was, well, obviously I've got to talk about my costume itself, because a lot of the time when I'm in my Noir DLC costume, I get mistaken for Sebastian from The Evil Within. Now, the reason for that is very simple. They are incredibly similar costumes. They are unbelievably similar. To the point that I've decided if I'm ever not in the mood to wear contact lenses, I'll just put my glasses on and say I'm Sebastian from The Evil Within, because he wears glasses in that game at points. And when I've got to move my contacts, I'll say I'm Leon, and I'll do it that way. 2 costumes for the price of 1. Can't say no to that. So I thought I'd tap into that. I also thought I'd have to mention the officer that gets off at the start of the game when you go into the gas station, meeting Claire, and as it's a Noir, you have to talk about the broad that stole the character's heart. So there had to be something about Ada. So cue maybe 90 seconds of me saying stuff like, I arrived and found the city completely dark. Of course, when you're around here surrounded by the dead, you got to take what options you find. I found one of my colleagues from the Arklay Mountain Division. Let's just say that his throat was being treated like the barbecue special at an all-you-can-eat buffet. And all those kind of cheesy 1930s kind of lines just to, like, you know, dig it up. I did see the judges laughing. I also saw quite a few giggles from the audience too, so it definitely must have gone over the right way. On the first day, because it was I think it's the more serious cosplay masquerade on the first day, we had the 2 winners were in excellent For Honor samurai getup, really, really nice cosplay. There was some really good, they were the standouts by far. We also had a guy who was he was known as a space wolf, in like a Warhammer 40k with a furry mask kind of outfit. Very muted and understated on the stage, but in the queue, the amount of times he almost knocked me over because he was dancing the jig was mad. Winner that day, we also had a girl who was doing Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. Very, very funny performance. She was just doing all the dances. I would have loved her to have had a toy iguana so she could have actually done the microphone thing, but you can't have it all. It was still a good performance from her, so she deserved to win that category. That day, it was good fun. I also ran into Aaron, who was cosplaying as Bray Wyatt this time instead of The Undertaker. You were awesome. And that one photo of you no-selling my shotgun is far more in character than what happened at Hell in a Cell. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Brilliant costume. Great to see you again. I also ran into a guy who was dressed as a Halo ODST character, went by the name of ODST Richter, and he helped me out on the second day by giving me this. You might think why I would want a grenade. Well, in Resident Evil 2, they are one of the sub-weapons. So I'm going to paint this and make it green and silver so it is actually properly in canon. But that was a nice little extra touch to my costume, so thank you very much for that donation. I will get you a pint at some point if I see you in the bar somewhere. That day, didn't get any real shout-outs for it, but it was still good fun. On the second day, I wasn't going to do the monologue again. But I thought to myself, it was kind of fun to do, and when I was signing up, the woman at the audience doing the sign-up desk was actually really, really good, and she thought it went over really well. So I decided to give it another go just for the sake of it. And going back to the Halo ODST guy, he actually won on the second day. So I was really chuffed for that, because it's a brilliant outfit, loads of foam, full helmet, an amazing prop gun. It was all really, really nice, and really good character design. And as for my performance, I think it went over well. Because yes, unbelievably, miracles that science can't explain, I actually won a category. I was given the best performance award that particular day. That was enough of a reward for me, but I also got given some swag, including this. A really nice Space Invaders keychain. I've yet to actually undo it, as you can see. I don't know if I'm going to actually put this on my keys, I'll keep it as a nice little memento because it's such a nice thing. If I get a proper look at the cabinet there, it's a really nice replica of the cab, so I might just keep it in its protective sealing for now and maybe use it for something else. And I also got this. Believe it or not, I actually have a VR headset. The only annoying thing is it's designed for phones, and the compatibility is 3.5 to 6 inches. Potential problem. I have a Google Pixel 3 XL. I don't know if it's going to be too big. I've not cracked it open. I've not actually opened it up and decided to play around with it just yet because I don't want to screw things around. So I'm going to do some more investigations before I crack into it, really. But that's still an excellent prize. When I saw it was Alien, I thought, oh wow, cool. And then I looked, I'm like, a VR headset? Free tech? Yes. So absolutely chuffed to bits that I got that. So it was a really, really good fun day. The second day, I ran into Julian as well. I want to give a shout out to Julian. Ran into him on the second day while we were waiting to play now. I'd just finished playing something on the Japanese games, and then we talked for a bit. I can't remember what it was we were both talking about playing. Anyway, it was good to see you again, mate. Real surprised to see you in Blackpool. Nice to run into you. And hopefully I'll see you at an arcade club day sometime, because I know you like to hang out there. It'd be good to do some more long-term gaming. I saw you in Leeds once, so that's close enough. All in all, play expo Blackpool, it was a lot of fun, but I will say that the venue was very, very dark compared to Manchester. With Manchester being in the Grand Central, because of the way the old railway arches, you get lots of natural daylight coming in, whereas this had a much more gloomy arcade feel, which was nice for the cabs, but every piece of footage I've seen so far has not come anywhere near as visible, and it makes me wonder how people saw the masquerade, because it was quite well lit on stage, but I don't know if it still had quite a lot of bad effects from behind, so I'll be interested to see any footage from that. But again, all in all, it was still a great bit of value for money. I really enjoyed it. It's nice to be able to go somewhere and play a lot of machines, and no one really took the mick either with the cabs. If you run like one credit like I was with Radmobile, then you were just carrying on till you finished. But taking, for example, the likes of the House of the Dead, Time Crisis 2, people were like doing maybe 2-3 credits tops and then chopping and changing out, which was really nice. You didn't see anyone hogging, and I didn't see anyone doing the really annoying winner stays on nonsense either. So it's good to see a mix of everybody. Other cabs that I did get to check out briefly, I checked out another bowling game on the trackball, wasn't anywhere near as good at that. Shout out to Andy, who managed to complete 18-wheeler. How you had the patience to master that, I don't know, but very well done to you for beating that game. As I say, all in all, a good laugh. Lots of nice food over the weekend. Major shout out for that to the Trafalgar in Fleetwood, who are a fish restaurant predominantly. And on their menu, I saw when I got there, Andy had booked the table and said, "Look, I've got a vegan coming. Can you sort it out?" Yeah, we can do that. I'll make it sorted. Got there and saw one option on the menu, which was a vegetarian pasta, and I was a bit, But then what had happened is when the staff realised that we had a bespoke order, they explained that the chef had done something that wasn't on the menu, and I put a picture on my Instagram, which was basically like these stuffed peppers. Absolutely gorgeous. If you guys are watching this video, even if you don't put it on the menu as a permanent feature, have that as an advertised alternative that people can book bespoke if they're vegan. Believe me, you'll get a lot of foot traffic from those who are looking to go to those kind of places, but are put out because of the lack of options. It was a really top-notch meal. Well done to you. Major shout out to Compass Cafe as well. 2 days they kept us in amazing grub, vegan chili, and amazing vegan burgers. The Mountain, what was it called? The Mountain Conqueror, something like they called it. Really nice vegan burger. Really good and really cheap. Anyone who either lives in Blackpool or goes to Blackpool, if you want a good lunch that's got options for everybody, right in the centre, not too far from the tower, search Compass Cafe. Not only do you get great food, and not only is it a brilliant price, even if you don't go for ages, the staff remember who you are. They have a personal touch, unlike many places, and you will love it. That's if you're in Blackpool, of course. So for me, if you are interested in catching me at any cons, I am about next week at Leeds Marriott's Unleashed event on the Sunday, the 20th of October. After that, it's likely I'm out of cons until early next year. I do have plans for a very special con, but it's going to involve a little more research once Brexit happens. Watch this space. I'm not spoiling anything, apart from one person who knows, because she's kind of helped book it all. You know who you are. So, on that note, I'm going to pretty much sign off and say a major fun weekend. I had a lot of fun. Major shout out to the rest of the cosplayers that I met. Mum and Deadpool, you were hilarious and brilliant on stage. And massive kudos to you as well, Akio Cosplay, as you are on Instagram, for actually managing to perform with no glasses and no vision, especially considering you were drawing your weapons and spinning them around and posing. Believe me, that's very hard. I'm a fellow glasses wearer, as you can see. Right now, I take these off. I actually can't even see myself in the viewfinder. That's how bad it is. So I know just how difficult that must have been, especially when you were wearing a mask. You were amazing, and you deserve to be better than an honourable mention, in my opinion. Also, a major shout out to the Dante cosplayer. Really enjoyed meeting you and talking about your costumes as well. Really good fun. Thanks to all the judges who were involved putting on the events, and thanks to the staff who made it all possible. Ultimately, though, thanks to everyone who attended. And if you did get any photos of me, or if you were too shy to come and ask for any, if you see me again, don't be afraid to stop me and ask for a picture. I'll happily pose for anybody, because I'm... Shall I say it? No, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm someone who's... I'll call myself a poser. I'm a poser, that'll do. Yeah, that'll do. I'll get across. So if you've got anything like that, you want to get in touch, see us at a convention, reach me anytime. Also, if you are knocking around an arcade club in Leeds or in Bury, more likely Leeds to be fair from where I am, feel free to come up, say hi, and even challenge me a few games. You'll probably win. I won't lie on that one. But until then, thank you all very much. I'm Swishbone, and I'll check you all out later on. Farewell.